everybody, welcome back for another video. I've got a topic for you today that has come up. People ask me about this, and it's something that I had not really thought about because I'm one of those less lethal users that buys and holds, and I'm not planning to sell. That's not my thing. I'm not after making money from less lethals. I use them for myself as tools for self-defense. That's all I want them for, and I buy them, and I expect that I want to be able to maintain them for the long term and be able to use them. Some people might want to resell. Some people might want to know the value of their less lethal launcher and how it's going to hold value over time. A great option for you 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. When we compare it to the firearm industry, firearms have been around forever. If you buy one and you put it away and you come back 10 years later and you're ready for some ammo and you're ready to fire, you can be right back in the game right away. Less lethal launchers are changing so rapidly that I have a general fear that I just want to express, is that you buy something and maybe it'll serve you really well for a couple years, but at some point it will rapidly become obsolete. In my area of research, 5 years is like a lifetime. So if you make a major discovery, 5 years later, that discovery is no longer of great. People are not excited about it. The field has moved exponentially forward in 5 years, and so what you could have been a superstar 5 years ago, and then 5 years later, you're at the bottom of your profession. So it's same way in sports. You can be at the top, you can win the championship, and then you can be in the bottom a year or two later, and it's a winner-take-all mentality. With evolution of less lethals and firearms, there are risks inherent to that, and I just want to express how I can see how the less lethal community and less lethal field is inherently at much more risk. Now, in terms of market share, it's really interesting if you look at the numbers and the growth rates. Both the firearm industry and the less lethal industry are increasing at very similar rates, but the firearm industry is about $50 billion or so. The less lethal industry, as best I can tell, maybe $500 million, and that's including launcher cells, ammo, supplies, everything else, all put together. So you're talking about a 100-fold difference between them, of 50 billion versus $500 million. So that's a very big difference in total, but the growth rates are very similar. The difference is like I said, the firearm manufacturers and the firearms that are being made will still be functioning for you 5, 10, 20, 50 years down the road. But when you buy a less lethal, and especially if it's a model that is not it's not a platform that's widely used and it's going to be around for a long time, and it has to have some crossover appeal with the paintball market. If it doesn't, and it's just a standalone less lethal made by a less lethal company, it may be fine if that less lethal company is still in business in 5 years. But I sense that less lethal businesses tend to come up, they develop products, but ultimately firearm manufacturers may be taking over some of these companies and taking on some products, but you may have some that stand the test of time. But even them, they're going to be evolving their product such that it gets better and better. And I can see how Grimberg has a great product right now with the gavel. You could buy it, and then literally 5 years from now, you may find that your gavel is not what you want anymore because they've come up with something better. That's not a negative. It's a positive for the less lethal community in the field. It's just that in terms of making an investment and buying expensive launchers, it's not an investment in the terms of an investment that you might make in a firearm that will hold a lot of value and you can resell or trade. I know there is a lot of buy-sell trade in some of the forums for less lethal products, but my sense is that is not going to be sustainable over time. I think there is a market for people who want something that's been modified, and that's fine if they want to do that. But there's also a a lifespan for certain models. And I know there are some folks who say, well, let's go back to the Tiberius lineage. I'll take any one of those. Those are fine. As long as the paintball community is supporting you and the parts are still being made. But even some of those, you don't have to go that far back. The parts are no longer being made. My T8.1 9.1 magazine that I use in my TCP, which will also fit the FSC, that part is no longer being made. It requires another third party to come up and start making a product that will work. And a lot of the less lethal community is grown by people stepping up and making a part here, making a part there, filling a niche, and that's capitalism. That's what people do, and that's great. It's not my thing, but if that's what they want to do, and that's their business that they want to pursue. The problem is it's a rapidly evolving field, and when you buy something now, it will change over time, and there'll be something better that comes along, and your model may become obsolete. So just be aware of that. When you're buying your state-of-the-art, less lethal launcher that you think is the best thing out there, it won't be the best thing very long. It'll rapidly get replaced with something else that's better. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. You can't constantly be buying the new thing. So maybe you can if you like to just play with them. You're a hobbyist and you just want to do that for fun, and that's your interest. That doesn't interest me at all. I want to get something that has longevity. When I buy into it, I want to know that that company is stable, the supply chain for that company is strong, and I will be able to service my tool and get the most years out of it. I don't look at it myself personally for resale value. That's not of interest to me, but it may be to you. You may want to know that this particular launcher and this company is going to be strong, and then there will be a resale value. So I could sell it to someone and maybe go for a new version. But there are companies that are going to disappear on us, and there are products that are going to look really interesting right now that don't stand the test of time. And the industry is growing. They're both, firearms and less lethals are growing at a very similar rate. And that's really a strong sign for the less lethal community. But don't get the impression that less lethals, because they're growing at such a nice rate, that they are somehow going to eclipse firearms and they're going to become the next best thing. That's not happening. In fact, the rate for less lethals is, comparable, but still slightly lower in terms of the slope of the increase. But they're both increasing, but you've got this big delta in between in terms of the market share that's out there. So think about your needs when you make a purchase, because it's your money, you work hard for it, you have to decide how you want to spend your money. Unless you're a hobbyist, those are minorities. Those are people that have a self-interest in doing that. It's not of any of our self-interest for those of us who are realistic self-defenders and want to make this part of our portfolio of less lethal defense. There's no desire at all for me to go out and start buying just because something is hot and new. If it doesn't fill a niche that is actually really, truly going to help me, and it's something that I need, I'm not going to get it. I don't care. I'm not that kind of YouTube channel. That's not me. That's not what Scaredy Cat TV is all about. We're not chasing after the latest, greatest thing just for views and likes. We're really about telling you, slow down, take a deep breath, think about what you need, think about your future. And when you buy something, make sure that it's something that will serve you well. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thanks for listening. Everybody take care. We'll see you in the next time.